All right, apologize for the technical difficulties as the green flag has just come out as we've had to switch over to a YouTube-only broadcast, unfortunately, so you're not able to watch us on Facebook here this evening. It must be a problem with the app that we use that connects up the basically puts together YouTube and Facebook. So apologies for the inconvenience there as the pole sitter tonight was Tommy Ryan, presented, of course, by our friends at 811 Notes Below. Call before you dig. However, Tommy Ryan fell back really quickly here at the start of this race. As a matter of fact, is he even where?
He's running 14th.
He's running 14th all of a sudden. So I don't know what happened to Tommy, but he did not go. Pedro Mojica has led the first lap here. So the captain with you and Kevin England as we get started here in this 134 lap 200-mile race here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. I'm going to try to share this real quickly to the Facebook pages so that everybody knows where we're actually at here. As Pedro leaves, Kevin, I might have to kind of throw you out there for a second.
All good. The 99 of Tommy Ryan made contact with Pedro, tried to stay off and went down, bounced off the apron, then got nicked by Calantoni going by, and that is the reason he is currently running back where he is in that 14th position, right underneath Jeff Ryan, as we have a battle for the lead, the 58 to the high side, and it is the 19 of Tyler Dalton down underneath him. 58, Pedro led that lap. Tyler sails it into turn number one, right down there on the white line, able to pull ahead. The car wobbling all over the place through the center of the corner, but he executed the pass. He is your leader to the backstretch, and I think this is the play for Tyler to try and lead a lap here, and then he'll probably settle in, although who knows, he might like that clean air out front as Calantoni sits there in third. Right behind him, settled in, is Jose Gonzalez, and Wesley Donaldson, who's been on a tear lately. Everywhere he goes is running currently in the fifth position as they clear lap number 5.
I was going to say, talking to Dalton early in this race, he actually feels that he has a car that can compete with Pedro tonight. He doesn't think this is going to be a Pedro race.
Yeah, we'll see. Pedro somehow finds that speed everywhere he goes, which is just uncanny, but ultimately what Pedro's looking to do is have that night tonight where he settles in and just continues to build an insurmountable lead for these drivers to try and take them over for the championship. And if he gets a top 5, it'll be mission accomplished no matter what Mr. Dalton thinks.
Yeah, and of course Tyler needs another good finish. You see he's one of two drivers who are in the playoffs out of the 10. We'll show you the point standings here momentarily. And just to kind of show you where everybody is as we go into this third race of 5 as the sun decides to pop out here right at the beginning of the race. That's almost a worst nightmare for these guys because this track is going to change.
Yeah, right now everybody's kind of single filed out through that top 10, settling in. What's fascinating about this racetrack is watching the way that the lines move. Currently with fresh tires, plenty of grip. They're right down there along the white line. I suspect that as the race moves on, they'll move to the middle, maybe even to the high side as they are rolling around this racetrack. Chad Coleman was talking about the practice races that they have on Thursday nights and the other night, seeing that really has settled a lot of these drivers at getting some of those laps in with other drivers. It's one thing to run practice by yourself. It's another thing to run mock run, so to speak, of a Monday night race, and I think that has improved the competition for these guys and who has a shot for having the ability to get a win here. Is
Mike Kelly. He went chasing a tuna down in the lake on the inside there off turn 2, and unfortunately he loses some positions, but it's going to hold on here to 19th position in that 811 car. As we've got both links now set up on the Facebook pages, so everything's good to go there. As we're 9 laps in, as Tyler Dalton leads by 0.3 of a second, and then here's Wetzel and Kelly back here at the 19th position, getting close to each other, a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, Kelly slid up there and just squeezed Wetzel to the top. He's got plenty of racetrack to go up, but didn't anticipate he'd be that close quarters with him.
As we'll come by and complete 9 laps, you see the 77 Robert Fryery, the 42 of Scott Stenzel back there. As Dalton out to about 2/10 as mentioned here, taking the lead here just a few minutes ago. He's the third leader of this race. So, as I mentioned before, Kev, this is a 134-lap race, so exactly 200 miles that I think is going to have some interesting strategy to it because talking to some ladies as we see some wild racing up front all of a sudden here. I saw somebody down towards the apron going into 3. So they're using all the track literally here at Homestead. But the gearing in this car, if you run 5th gear throughout this race, I'm told that you could make this a one-stop race. The question is it worth it?
You know, you have to run your race sometimes at this racetrack. We were talking about finding speed. If you can find speed and save the tires, it's possible that that's the advantage. But if you kill the tires too quickly and you run on old tires, like we did last night at Atlanta, that will absolutely destroy your run and you don't stand a chance. And we'll see. We'll see. We'll get to halfway. We'll find out who's going to pit and who's going to go a little bit earlier. So little birdie told me that someone's celebrating a birthday today.
My birthday's in April.
I would be talking about Mr. Wertman. Happy birthday, Mr. Wertman.
Yes, Brian Wertman, happy birthday to you, sir. I believe the same age as me. I won't say my age. Anyways.
Looking at the way the track structure is for these cars, top 3, 4, 5 cars broke away. Mm-hmm. There's a big gap for 4 cars back to Jose Gonzalez. And then you come back to Wesley Donaldson, David Comstock, again, always running in that top 10 early on. Good 31 of Eric Arnold. Yeah. Good to see him in tonight.
Yeah, Joe
cool looking paint scheme on that car.
That Bears car. The Bears. Yeah.
The Bears. Joe Hudson in the Cold Trickle special there.
I like
with a rowdy number.
You got Jack Coleman in that Wood Butt and Dodge Charger. And
I was looking at Seth Fowley's car tonight. Did you see that? The 170? Interesting number. It has his name with the F worked in. That's cool looking.
Which he also, if you look closely, how he has the 170 on his car. I noticed this last week. He has the 17 in big font. And then there's like a little 0, like a degrees number, like a chiclet, I think is what they call that, up in the top right of the car. So it's like it's actually 170 degrees. And the Sub-Zero car is like, or the, what I call it, Glacier car last week.
Yeah, cool.
Jose,
well, right now everybody's settled in, and I think that has to do with tire strategy here.
Well, and I think, again, this is one of those driver type of tracks. You get a track that is so spread out racing wise that these guys love racing here, and they will literally pace themselves and get out here and just race. I'm not surprised by this one bit. I even mentioned, I think last week before going off the air, I was like, hey, we might be in line for another caution-free race coming up. Who knows? As I think Comstock just got way loose off turn 4. He has lost a lot of momentum. Here comes Wesley. I mean, I saw that car, I think, sideways.
We have our first rim rider tonight here. As Jose Gonzalez has moved up above the seam in turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 that last lap, testing the waters for that high groove.
We say that because we have not had a chance to go look at E.J. O'Rourke. So, O'Rourke, I mean, for the record, O'Rourke's usually the first one up there, and I mean, he's up there for the pace laps. So, but...
Somebody's on the apron. Am I wrong?
That is not a groove.
Yeah, trying to figure out who that car is. Oh, the 42 of Stenzel absolutely killed it. No caution because he crashed down there below the line.
Where's this?
If I'm not correct, unless it was EJ.
Maybe. I've got Stenzel here on the back straightaway right now. EJ I have up in 12th, so it's not him either.
I could have sworn it was a personal comfort car bobber in the wall there. Maybe I'm wrong.
It happens.
No, hold on a minute. What race am I watching?
Oh, no.
When you switch the broadcast on, I'm watching a Homestead race from 20 years ago,
I've
maybe?
got him fooled.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I've got the screen shared as the one here.
Yeah, but Mojica's leading, Dalton's running second, and Kelly's running third. And that's not what we're looking at.
No, what are you watching?
I know I'm in the wrong.
You got the YouTube stream up?
I pulled up the big TV and I went to Sim500 NC811 Cup Series playoff race from Homestead, and there were 2 people watching, and it says live, but it's showing a different race.
That's interesting because
Call me confuzzled.
I'm right with you if that's the case. It should be only on YouTube. Is that where you're at?
I'm on YouTube, yeah. Okay,
Well,
hold on. Let's
try
see what I
refreshing.
got.
For those who haven't refreshed, or refreshed.
Rika Dalton Kelly. No, I have no idea what this is.
What?
That's what it's showing.
Note to self: start labeling the broadcast with the year on it. Oh man! So 20 laps
Okay,
complete.
we won't watch that. We'll watch the actual feed. How's
There you
that?
go.
Sorry.
That's okay. As you have the 13 of Comstock, at least you know in last year's race, one of them wrecked early. Who's got the outside lane here on Eric Arnold. Wesley Donaldson right there with him. 20 laps in already. Now the question's going to be here again, and we mentioned it a little bit ago. If you get to halfway, it's lap 67. If you go and split this race in threes, 134 divided by 3 is somewhere. I've got 3 streams on. What in the world's going on around here? Okay, so here, let me edit the title of this so that people know which one it is.
Yeah, I see 3 of them.
That's probably
So we'll
the 2
clear
that I
this
tried
up.
to launch, and we're having issues. Okay, so at the end of the title, for those wondering, I put click this one. That's where I'm at right now. Wow. Or
Okay,
you can just
click
go
this
to,
one.
or you can just go to the Captain Esports Network Facebook page, click the link there, or to the Sim500 page.
Okay, that's right. Click this one. Got it.
Sometimes you just got to be just. See here, basically what it is, I use the app Restream. For those who don't know, Restream is a third-party app that allows you to broadcast out to hundreds of different people or whatever to different platforms. And it looks like that crashed or something, because that's what cut out my stream. And so I had to go to the emergency, which is just straight to YouTube.
Okay, so there is a race going on.
There is a race. I mean, this isn't what was it the what was it, a Daytona race a couple trouble. Joe Hudson, turn 2, goes around back straight away there. Calamity Corner
gets around cleaner.
As I said earlier, as I try to throw some Ken Squire lines out there. Calamity Corner, turn 2.
Now this is going to make it interesting because we talked about the potential for how would you race this.
I think you split the race in half now.
I think so too. You're going to have the ability to use fresh tires, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 extra set of tires. You're going to use 1 here. Then you go 55-55. And did Joe Hudson have a little help? Oh, he sure did. Chad Coleman in a Dodge. If you can't dodge it, ram it. Nice lazy spin there by Joe Hudson.
I think Chad just said, I'm not lifting. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like, what are you going to do?
As Tyler Dalton, Pedro Mojica, here come the leaders. EJ O'Rourke is going to stay out. Foudy, look out. Okay. Foudy about pulled a Larson. I would think people would learn from the real race. Don't hit the tire barriers at the end of pit road.
It's a relatively easy pit road. Under caution, of course.
Don't tell. Well, I was under green, I guess, or Larson won it. So both the personal comfort cars stay out, and Tyler Dalton wins the race off pit road. I think Gonzalez come out second. I'll have to check on that, and somehow, some way, and I'm befuddled that Brian Wortman did not stay out, and I wonder if that's because EJ did.
Yeah, most likely he knew that he was not going to lead the lap, so. I'll tell you, last night, birthday boy got on his horse, drove through the field from the beginning. Didn't ride around the back. We were all like, where are you going, Brian?
He'll do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
You won't see that very often, but he can he can boogie down if he really needs to.
Absolutely. Hey, let's take a quick break here real quickly and reset ourselves here for the next
Yeah, please.
110 laps or so, whatever we got left in this race. Since
110.
things have gone crazy here in the 811.com Cup Series on the Captain Esports Network.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
Back here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, 25 laps complete. First caution out for a little argy-bargy, if you will, between Chad Coleman and Joe Hudson. And Joe, unfortunately.
In the books, but we could reset this whole thing. And this should be rather interesting with Electricity O'Rourke on the front row.
Yeah, the front row did not pit. So O'Rourke and Stenzo are going to be on older tires. Hey, rule number 1 on old tires: if you're spinning, they're going to the right.
Yeah.
So here we go. EJ
We're
gets a
gonna
good
find out
launch.
if tires mean anything here. He did get a good launch.
Come on, does ketchup matter with French fries?
Okay, they both went to the high side. We're just going to open the bottom for all the cars with fresh tires. And the train is driving off of the bottom of turn 2 with Dalton in the lead.
Arnold went to the bottom there. He's digging for a fish. Which he's got a Bears paint scheme, so I guess he can get one.
EJ held his own, but he's now up against the wall, scraping dust coming off the right side. As Tyler Dalton is going to surge ahead, and he'll lead lap number 28.
So no taken here. I mean, that was 25 lap tires, and Stenzel's still up here in the 5th position. I mean, so hypothetically, if this was a green-white checker right now, I'm sure a lot more people would be aggressive. But you could argue that these guys could get top 10s out of this. Maybe.
My question to you is something of interest in the context of tire wear. We see these personal comfort cars riding to the top. There is some belief that riding to the top will save tires. Other drivers will tell you need to be down on the bottom to save tires. I don't really know what the answer is at this racetrack.
The answer, from my understanding, is the latter. You want to be on the bottom, and that's at every track. At every track, to my knowledge, the bottom lane is the preferred group. Until they get this new dynamic stuff going, every track is the bottom. And just know the higher you go, the pavement there is fresher because of people not running it. As Jatina gets up against the wall, so the tires wear more up that way. Now,
Even I feel like sometimes you turn the car in when the apex of the corner is tighter and you grind the right front, which could lead to tire wear where you're up there making a gentle arc. Up
oh,
on the
big
top.
trouble, big wreck. Brian Macklin's around, Eric Arnold, Robert Friery. And caution out for the second time. And add Randy Oakham to the list. Boy, Calamity Corner strikes again. That Arnold boy. That's another when you go back to Darlington, that Jones boy, which I think we're going to say is probably going to be the last Squirenism we'll ever remember. So that night he come out with that line, I was like, that was awesome.
That was awesome. I just not, the car broke loose on him. He drifted down the racetrack, quarter panel to 77.
Oh.
I just wonder if he was running the car too hard. These drivers did talk about random looseness up off the corner on throttle. Bottom, more prevalent than the top, but that was a brutal hit by Friery the third.
Well, there's a couple things here. Yeah, I could throw the looseness in there. I think that's a good element. I think the air where he is right there is not probably the best. I think that's another element here. It just comes around right there on him. So maybe just too much gas or something. I'm not sure. That's just a tricky spot, but he literally, bam, into the wall. Who's that? That's Macklin that gets pretty much out of nowhere. It gets turned. That's a playoff driver, oh, by the way. That's 2 playoff drivers affected here in the first 2 yellows. All right, let's go on board.
We also watched Foudy kind of push his way through that and able to keep that car off the wall. He was pretty lucky there.
See if we can get a good vantage point. See, well, Arnold's in 4th gear.
Hey,
I mean, he
excellent
didn't even-
driving by
did he
Jeff
lift at
Ryan.
all?
He missed that.
Man, that's one of those.
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's just one of those things where you're putting so much wheel in it, and eventually you reach that maximum grip and trying to save it. You see it, right? He's steering into it, and the car just kept coming down.
well, the unfortunate thing is I'm watching, and what I meant by did he lift at all, is usually if you start feeling that car go around, you can kind of get the feel real quickly and you'll lift. If you watch closely, it's like you see the car go into yaw to spin, and watch his RPMs here at the bottom. That's what I'm going off of. They keep going up.
Yeah. I think he tried to drive his way all the way through it.
Yeah. And Macklin backs into the wall pretty hard there.
Well, caution number 2, lap 32, and everybody is going to reset one more time.
Hey, about that caution-free race I said earlier.
Yeah. This is the racetrack that would have caution free, but not tonight, apparently.
Arnold Friery,
Lovely.
Wortman's on pit road right now with Yoakum, but Wortman was not involved in that wreck.
Yeah, I think they're just topping off. Same thing with Bobby Wetzel, because I believe he drove through it okay.
Topping off, interesting there, as 34 laps coming to green this time, and exactly the 100 lap to go mark. So that basically puts us at a point where you're still splitting this in half. There's really nothing more you can do right now. You're still in a 2-stop strategy. So
If you're on the back, you'll spend less time filling up, though.
That is
maybe,
true.
If you can.
I give you that.
Hammer down back to green here, lap 34 of 134. Side by side through turns 1 and 2. 3 different grooves, bottom, middle, top seems to be the choice. Good exit out of turn 2 this time, no problems.
O'Rourke doing a good job on those older tires here. So there must be something with this. Either that or EJ is just really driving hard to keep so. Never mind, he slides up the track there. Stenzel's right there behind him. Wesley goes to the inside as they're 3 wide, 2 rows deep. And I mean, credit
It's a
to them.
strange thing to consider, but if you rode around in the back and babied the car, and then the caution came out, you'd have tires that have quite a bit of life in them, and that could be where O'Rourke is. But even with a handful of laps on babied tires, I think eventually that's going to bite you. He might have taken that opportunity to pit, but he didn't here, so who am I to say whether he likes what he has or not?
I'm just going to say this. This track eats tires in real life more than anybody in Miami eats Pollo Tropical. If those are even open anymore down there. For those who don't know what that is, it is a chicken fast food type restaurant down in the Miami area.
Now we have 2 distinct grooves. The chicken eaters down on the bottom and the pollo eaters up on the top. They're right down on the white line in turns 1 and 2, and they're right below that black seam down there on the bottom.
Oh, one in the wall. That's Stenzel. He's rubbing it up a little bit there. Or, nope, sorry. That's the 41 EJ O'Rourke, and I'm pretty sure Richard Beasley's going to have fun with that line I just said. But anyways, Jose Gonzalez, fastest lap of the race just now, 33:37. So that's another note to take, that these tires are taking a couple laps to get up to temp. Which is surprising because, I mean, it's 120-degree track temp, which is a little bit cooler, I think, than what they said they ran Thursday night in the GOAT race.
Yeah, and the other thing you mentioned earlier that happens is the sun comes in and the sun goes out here, and that does change track temperature sometimes as as the event goes on. So
It's also 35. So you know what's happening here? It's the line that Jose's running. Remember I said earlier, the fresher pavement. When you have fresh pavement with tires, you grip. So, but what happens though when you grip something? It usually shreds it quicker. That's the whole point of the worn tire deal. It's like 80 grip, you know that.
But when you get to the point where you run the car hard in the front end of the stint, you tend to fall in the back. And this racetrack does not reward you for punishing the tires early.
It doesn't. No, I agree with that 100%. I think though, just the way iRacing has the setup, and if anybody in chat's watching, you could correct me on this, or if you know this better than I do, Kev. I trust me, I don't know the full knowledge of it, but because there is actual rubber laid down in that bottom lane, I guess it doesn't wear out the tire as much as it would being up top, because the tire likes the rubber, computer-wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I in real life, that's how it works.
Right,
And
right.
I'm assuming they model that the same. But, one of the things I notice is early on,
Makes sense
especially
what
in
you
that
said.
first lap, when you don't have all of the speed because you're not up to speed, you'll run the bottom. But in time, I do believe these drivers are going to move up off that bottom. As some of them will let off early and let the car float down to the bottom. And because they're in fourth gear, they can pick up the throttle and have the torque to drive out of the corner, where it would languish if it's in fifth gear. But those who are running in fifth gear are saving fuel.
Right.
So there's all kinds of stuff going on that we can't see from the stands, but they know what they're doing and are attacking this race differently. So
There's your pole sitter, Tommy Ryan, who unfortunately had a rough start at the start of this race. I mean, he was down on the apron off turn 2 after some contact immediately at the start, so you can almost say he pretty much was at about the 15th position by the time lap 1 is done. He just passed Joey Jatina. Joey tries to cross him back over here. Now, Kev, I do want to go back and finish what we were saying real quickly. You are 100% spot on when it comes to the real life. Because that's why you see these cars eventually go to the top at Homestead and rim ride the whole entire time.
yeah,
And eventually with the dynamic
and
build, it
it
might
ain't
become the
off
case.
the wall kind of thing, right?
Right,
So
right. Now, when this dynamic thing comes out here in a couple weeks, you might see it again. You might see everybody up top.
I'm curious as to how did Josh Parker, he was running 8th before that. Now he's running 4th, but he's up how many? 19 positions.
Yeah, he started 23rd. He did a Josh Parker type start.
Yeah.
Well, he probably missed those couple wrecks, which helped. And then we went green back at lap.
I just wonder if there was a 2-tire change in his past somewhere that got him some of that track position.
I don't see anything like that. I see he had a 1440 on his one stop.
Could have been the previous one.
Let's see, green flag comes out. Here's where I wish I could select driver and like see what he's done in the race.
He is hounding the 84 of Calantoni down the backstretch. Hard to tell those cars apart with the blue, red, white, and blue livery. They're so close together, but it is Josh Parker, in case you've got your binoculars out, that's going by and taking over third.
The bifocals. As, Calantoni gave up those 2 spots to he and was it Nelson or Pedro back there in the 4th position. Then Nelson Rivera's going to slide by for 5th now, and then Mike Kelly right there with him. Good comeback for that 2 car.
I don't want this to sound like it's not something complimentary, but Nelson Rivera lately has been putting together a number of really good races.
I know what you're doing.
And I have to say that he has been just under the radar, but stealthy, fast, and consistent lately. And he's always that way, but I think the difference would be sometimes we'd see him run in the back half of the top 10. Lately, we've been seeing him run in the front half of the top 10, and that's how you get there.
He's done a great
job.
He's
riding right behind Pedro, of all people, right? So that tells you he's got it going on right now.
As we're riding with Mike Kelly right now, and he is in 4th gear all the way around this track. Like, he's not even using 5th gear. getting the RPMs all the way up to close to 89, almost. Yeah, he's hitting 9,000 RPM down to turn 1. And that car's, I mean, a little tight there center. And then you see him on throttle. That car, he's just swatting flies. But, you know, the thing about it now, it is not the fuel mileage race that we were talking about a little bit ago, because we got that caution at lap 20. It pretty much turned us into just go 55 or so laps, and we had the second caution at 34. So you could go roughly 50 to 55 laps, come to pit road, put another set of tires on, and go the rest of the way to the finish. I wouldn't dare, as I've learned here the last few weeks, touch a two-stop strategy the rest of the night.
If you look at that too on the outside, there is a strategy to what his play is here too. Everybody else drives down in the corner, and I don't think they're running flat foot all the way around the corner, but he might be as close as you can get. And then as he has such a run off the corner, he's able to draft the car in front of him. And this slingshot move here is working to his advantage. As he comes off that corner and picks up the draft of Pedro in front of him, it is pulling him right to his bumper. It got him around the 22 of Nelson Rivera, and now he's trying to work on Pedro for 4th.
Which is just a simple, the draft being so OP here on iRacing as you come off the corner there. Yeah, it just allows him to pull right up there. Plus, he's getting clean air up on that top side. But I think, just from thinking, overpowering.
Oh.
So I've had that thought in my head, and I think it's clicked now. I think I know what O'Rourke and Stenzel are up to. Do I agree with what they're probably doing? No. But here's what they're doing probably. They stayed out on pit road, stayed off pit road there at the caution. Yeah, they have older tires. But now they can still go. They're one stopping no matter what. They're going to go all the way as far as they can on the tank of fuel, put tires and fuel on, and go all the way to the finish.
I absolutely have no idea why that would work, sitting
back
where they are.
I'm with you, but that's the only reason I can think of they did not pit. Because you have enough tires to do, you know, a two-stopper, and you still got a third set of tires left. I mean, the basic difference right now is the field has two sets of tires. They have 3. You're only going to pit one more time the rest of the race unless you get yellows.
Yeah, okay. That is the pure definition of run your own race.
I mean, that's what I'm getting at.
There's no purer form of run your own race than that, what you just said.
If somebody
cares what happens, I don't care about cautions and whatever, this is what I'm doing.
I mean, if somebody has their own theory in head, that's what I come up with. As we watch the battle with Parker going to second. Inside of Gonzalez here. These two are going to race each other hard. Jose has no easy pass. Jose, a winner here in Homestead in the past. The closest track he has to Puerto Rico. Of course, this Homestead Miami Speedway is literally a couple of miles before you get to the official Florida Keys. If you actually,
I just have to say this, throw this in for my own edification. Wesley, there's a wall up there.
Oh, no.
So let me explain what that is.
Did he say this to you?
No.
Okay.
Whenever you're racing, ever, and you go up and you brush against the wall and you leave smoke or you crash, like I did last night at Atlanta. You come down the backstretch and you swing up to turn it in, and you screw it up. And I don't, it's almost like a comedy moment. Every single time I do it, no matter what happens, Doug Sigmund's riding behind me, and he'll go, Kevin, there's a wall up there. So I had to give Wesley that as I saw him scrape the wall.
Did you hit the part where it pokes out? Because I believe the old Atlanta has that spot where it pokes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would happen.
I'll be good.
No, I was just saying my comment's more of usually, who put that there?
Yeah. Well, look at this strategy for Tyler Dalton out front right now, leading clean air. Car looks pretty smooth.
He's got somebody behind him that's ready to pounce.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is he's run his own race right until he looks in the rearview mirror right now. The HaasTooling.com Ford of Josh Parker is shoving him down the straightaway at points. And if I'm Tyler, I'm just going, look out the front, look out the front, look out the front. You do not want to look in the mirror because Josh will rattle you. Do they not have a history of Parker tagging him one time?
I got to think about it. One car's up in the outside wall, one of the 811 cars. Then it might be Yoakum who was trying to get out of the way of everybody. It sure is. So everybody's scattering.
This is about the stage in the race. We went back about 31. Now we're working lap 56 with 79 to go. If you're going to get whatever you're going to get out of this set of tires and go to pit road, you might as well run them if you got them.
Well, let's see. 134.55 is, let's see, 135 and 55. Let's break it down even more as Tyler's going to let Josh go. Gets you to lap 80. So my guess is that you're going to go probably another 23 laps. Now, Mr. O'Rourke and Mr. Stenzel, those guys are likely pitting somewhere around lap 70. If I had to do this math right.
You know, the frustrating part about this racetrack and why you love restarts is once somebody's 10 car lengths ahead of you, even if you're fastest car on the racetrack, it takes you 10 laps to get to the bumper. And then the old adage, catching them's one thing, passing them is another one. So even if you do save your tires, when things get spread out so far, it is really, really challenging to try and run somebody down and pass them. And then the harder you run, what happens? The car starts to get evil. It steps out on you, you potentially spin, you miss your turn into the mark. That is where this track is somewhat friendly, because if you miss your turn in, you just go up the banking a little bit and you can recover from it.
Well, the one thing I'm noticing is some of these cars that are the faster cars on the track now, well, I say that as Pedro moves up a groove because he missed the bottom, are literally painting. They're Bob Ross in that bottom line right now.
Yeah.
Yes, Pedro just passed Jose Gonzalez there.
Oh, Calantoni loose off of turn 2. Catches it. Wow, did that thing step out?
He must have just seen another New York Giants highlight. Anyways, poor guy.
3 and 8. Oh.
Sorry.
It's even worse when you're in the same division as the Eagles. We're killing it this year. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna leave
I'm
Count
sorry,
Tony alone.
Anthony.
He's probably ready to drive to Indiana and find me now.
I'm going to see him next week at the Turkey Derby. He's going to.
Oh, you're going to that turkey
Call
thing
me
too?
out
He
on
was
that.
talking about.
Yes.
He was inviting everybody. He was Oprah Winfrey and us in chat. He's like, "You want to go? You want to go? Do you want to go?" I'm like,
And if you don't feel like coming to Jersey, you can watch it on Race America.
You got to pay for that,
It's going to be live.
Come on.
Yes, I know, but
Anyways, I've had my
you'd
answer
be.
about that.
I think about. Let's see. I want to go sit in the grandstands where the wind blows off the ocean. 20-degree weather. We froze our tukuses off at that race, but Matt Money Hirschman, man, he's coming.
Yes.
Coming to take their money down the shore.
I will actually be honest with you. I will be in Pigeon Forge next week, this coming weekend. So might be a little warmer where I'm at, but
Well, I just came back from sunny Florida, so this is a shock this week.
the ultimate warm, right? So
You see these drivers now moving up. They've been on that white line, but a lot of them are up above the seams, and we don't talk much about that. But drivers, look at this.
Joey Jattina to pit road.
Ding, ding, ding.
Lap 62. According to my math, that is 72 laps to go. My math isn't adding up right here.
Yeah, 73 to go, but maybe he just ran the goodie off his tires and decided that's it. What I was going to say is I see these drivers moving up a lane. They're not on that white line now. They're up above the seam, a lot of them. I'm choosing to run a little bit higher.
Something's not right with Joey's car because his car didn't lift at all for tires or nothing. As Jeff Ryan comes to pit road now. Yeah,
That was a... Is there a whiskey involved in that turn?
Man, I'm going to see your draw. I'm going to see you ride a straight line there. So we'll have to check and see what happened to Joey that brought him to pit road. Must have had hit the wall or something. I'm not sure. But, hey, let's step away real quick. Let's hear. I got to make sure I take care of 811 here. So you're watching the Cup Series from Homestead Miami Speedway on the Captain Esports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at Homestead Miami Speedway as we're green 65 laps, 2 before the halfway point. One thing I did not get a chance to do, and I want to do this before we get to our pit stops, let me show you the point standings of where they run entering tonight's race. Chad Coleman, 13 points back of Pedro Mojica. This is after 2 races. Pedro's won them both so far in the round of 5. 5 races with 10 drivers going for the championship. Brian Macklin with issues down here and Joe Hudson with issues down at the bottom. They were already 9th and 10th in the round, so they're going to be in a little bit worse shape as we go into the night. But the rest of these guys pretty much tight net from about 3rd on back. So that's your point standings as of now. Yeah. It is, and it's very tricky, and of course you got a surface down there that's not really cleaned off with older tires, so it's very tricky to get on the brakes too, so you got to be very careful of that as we hit the halfway point. But, you know, I said a minute ago with the issues that have happened to Joe Hudson and to Brian Macklin that unfortunately they're 9th and 10th, and it's only going to get worse. I then click on the screen and I look at who's running 11th. Here's Joe Hudson. It's like, well, wait, maybe he ain't so much bad shape right now as unfortunately Brian Macklin, who is 25th and off the track. As there goes Hudson into the top 10 as he passes Montesi. So Hudson with a good comeback here, and oh, it must be that Rowdy Burns car he's got rolling around here. So again, not sure what happened to Joey. He pulled off the track, but if I do the math correctly here again, Scott Stenzel, EJ O'Rourke, they'll be on pit road here in the next lap or 2. And then probably about 10 more laps, you will see the rest of the field coming to pit road because, remember, those 2 did not pit under those 2 cautions. They're on the same tank of fuel right now as they started the race on. So otherwise, I have no other explanation. Kev, I've been told I unplugged your microphone from the wall, apparently. Meaning, I think he went back to the cell phone call again. Somebody said that in chat. It's like you unplugged the microphone. Hey, Stenzel's on pit road, by the way. At lap number 70. Here comes O'Rourke. No, great run for Gerald, as you mentioned. Obviously, good to see him running well, of course, with his issues he's had lately. And, oh, Wetzel going up there and clocking the wall a little bit there. As Pedro Mojica goes to the inside of Tyler Dalton at lap 72. So give Mojica the 2nd position. So, yeah, O'Rourke and Stenzel came to pit road. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, never mind. Okay, it's not you, Joe. Or it's not you, Kev. It's me. Hang on. Let me turn your microphone on, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. That would be appreciative. We're having a night here. But we keep going. Joey Chattina's back out on the
Yes.
racetrack.
I don't know. He must have got the wall or something and got meatballed, would be my guess, because he was on pit road, got whatever fixed about 4.5 minutes. Either that or you had to go to the bathroom or something. Not that I've ever seen that done in a race.
Okay, so let's see where things are. We just have to make a mental record of this. Parker out front. Pedro is chasing him down. Dalton's still hanging tough there. Jose Gonzalez run top 5 all night long. Wesley Donaldson has come up to 5th, and if anybody has been on a tear lately, look at the support races through the series. Wesley Donaldson's been killing it, winning races, top 5ing everything. Chad Coleman still fighting for that championship, won't go away. The driver that I'm kind of surprised that he's down 4 from his starting position is David Comstock, running 13th. Not sure if he's saving or something else, what's going on there, but uncharacteristic. We usually see him going forward at this point of the race, not sinking into the bottom of the top 10.
Yeah, and you got to remember, David actually was all kinds of loose at the beginning of the race. I remember a couple times he had to go catch that car sideways out there. But, Wesley, I go back to a year and a half ago when the whole merge happened with GOAT. And, of course, he showed up at that point with Charles Van Schaik. And Wesley has always been a competitive guy. He's went out there. He's won, I think he won Friday night's Midnight Thunder Series as he gets the inside of Gonzalez here for 4th. And going to bring Chad Coleman with him. But he's always been a competitive person. He's always had Atomic Burrito in chat there as his spotter. And always been a competitive person. But I don't want to be the guy that turns to a second storyline that could be happening here. Remember the first caution?
Yeah.
For those viewers who were not here to see the first caution at lap 20, I have it here for you on the screen, or it's going to be on the screen here in 2 seconds. This is what happened, and there's a reason why I'm showing this to you. Chad Coleman goes into turn 1 and 2, and unfortunately he just basically moved Joe Hudson out of the way. Brought the first caution out. So, as we go back live, Chad Coleman in the 6th position, and I couldn't help but notice 2 positions back. It's Joe Hudson.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice just now. So we'll have to see.
I couldn't help but notice Jose Gonzalez absolutely sideways off of turn number 2, catching the car. This shows you that they're the end of the tire run, and cars get really evil at this racetrack when you have a significant tire wear.
When do you pit, though? Like, that's the question. I mean,
You can't. You got to run it through.
But you're in the window now. You can pit any time now and go to the finish. So what's the window?
And again, Gonzalez loose off the turn 2.
Calamity corner. That Gonzalez boy is out of control.
I don't know. You're chief cook and bottle washer as the driver. I think Gonzalez is coming to pit road. He's had enough of that.
Yeah, he's coming to pit road now. So here comes the Miami Dolphins car to pit road. Maybe he was waiting for Buffalo to score a touchdown before he pitted. Oh, hey, look at there. Yeah.
EJ O'Rourke, Scott Stenzel, 1 lap down right now. And I think they're not in the lucky dog, which puts them at pretty significant risk, because if somebody has a oopsie trying to get on or off, we've not talked about that, pit road here, they would have to do a wave around. It would not be able to change tires. As Gonzalez service done, and as I look out the window and watch Gonzalez go around, you try to get as much as you can on that exit road, and it's tricky.
Yeah.
To go through that. You slide off on the grass, you got to cross that line correctly, join up to the track. He did it flawlessly, of course.
As long as you get out there and practice pit stops, you can do pretty well, Casey, right? Anyways, as Mike Kelly comes off pit road, I'm pretty sure he's about to dig me back for that. Wesley Donaldson coming to pit road. Yep.
It's time. They saw Gonzalez go in, and now you see a bunch of cars in the top 10. Mike Montesi drops off. He's having a good run tonight in the 6.
Yeah, Mike having a fantastic run. Just go, there you go, slider in there, Wesley. He just took out his left
Now the
rear tire
question
guy.
is when everybody's been marking themselves, measuring themselves to Pedro Mojica, he stays out and is going to run further laps. So let's talk about the dynamic of this. You run now with new tires, Foudy coming to pit road. You're going to have faster lap times, but you spend more time filling up with fuel. I don't know. You know, there's different dynamics as we've talked about all through the season as we get to the end of the season on the pit stop strategies. I find that sometimes when you hit that groove and the car feels good, even on worn tires, and you could stay in the draft to somebody in front of you, run more laps. Everybody else has dropped off and you're still clicking off fast laps. It might be to your advantage.
So my thought process is this. A lot of these cars are out here running fourth gear right now, loosening the car up, right? So what's one way that you can get out here and tighten the car up on track?
Put it in fifth.
That's one way. The other way is you don't take as much fuel in the car. So if you could figure out the percentage, as Tyler Dalton's on pit road right now, 4 tires and fuel, 14.9. So say they're pitting right now, 50 laps to go, and you can go 65 to 67 laps. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't figure out that kind of percentage. But whatever percentage it would be that you're burning, if say you're burning a mile and a half track, usually it's about, God, 0.2 a lap, maybe 0.2 of a gallon, maybe, or something like that. But, you know, if you could figure out that kind of math, I mean, without doing auto refuel and iRacing, because we know how well that goes sometimes, and, you know, figure out, you know, you get down to, say, in a 20-gallon tank, you use 18 gallons, it's going to tighten your car up a little bit and shorten the pit stop up.
Well, what I love, I love the fact that we have 9 guys still racing.
Right.
9 guys who have not pitted, and we have drivers that have pitted 4, 5, 6 laps ago. So the disparity in tire wear and strategy is expanding every time these guys run another lap. So it'll be really fascinating to see strategically which way this goes for some of these drivers. Is Parker putting himself at an advantage or disadvantage running out there? And I have to imagine that Mojica, who's been superstar all season, knows what he's doing. His car is straight as an arrow coming off the corner. They're running pretty fast lap times. 33.395 is the best, and they're running a 34.7 last one for Parker. So
Where's my mathematicians at? I just tried to do it on my phone, and I am not good at doing percentages, but somebody can do 15% of 20. That might tell you, I think it's 3, if I did the math right. So take 3 gallons out, you put 17 gallons, potentially gets you to the finish of that race. That, if I did the math right there.
now we have conveyor belt. We have, you know, maybe the front stretch is clean.
Leaders coming in.
There they go.
Parker and Mojica coming together. See if Chad Coleman's behind him. He is not. He's going to stay out, lead a lap, get a bonus point.
Pedro goes all the way down the one end, and Josh starts right short in his box.
He's got the best view in the house, though, right next to Victory Lane. 4 tires and fuel for both these guys.
.44 of Glenn Campbell on pit road. So Trans Service team went to lap 88 before they went and got their services. Parker down and away, good pit stop for him. He's got about 8 to 10 car lengths on Pedro.
Yeah, I'd say about an 0.8 of a second pit stop, quicker pit time. He actually was a second and a third quicker than Mojica on pit road. That's the difference right there.
That shows up on the track. And
Holy
Pedro
cow.
really hustled the car coming off the pit road. You could see it skating on that exit road, but he was able to keep it straight. And the 19 got past the 58 of Pedro.
That doesn't surprise me. Of course, the newer tires for Tyler, Wesley Donaldson, Jose Gonzalez, all those guys getting by. Mike Kelly actually is between Josh Parker and Pedro Mojica. So those are the guys that pitted a little earlier. But right now, top 6 are on the older tires, including the Caterpillar Charger there of Ward Coleman. And Tommy Ryan there about 1.5 seconds back. There he is in the 99 car. David Comstock there in 3rd. Gerald Livingston, 4th position. Am I allowed to be like semi-biased for a split second?
Yeah.
Throw a
Sure.
caution for Gerald.
Yeah. A lot of cars 1 lap down, hoping, waiting, wishing for Chad Coleman to pit here. They're a little bit nervous.
Scott Simley on pit road in the 12 car. Simley just celebrated a birthday a couple weeks ago. On his birthday, decided to check in on us. I'm pretty sure if there were 99 things that he had to do, we would have been the 99th thing.
All right, Chad, what are you thinking? That's what everybody else in the field is talking about. Chad, what are you thinking?
Comstock down pit road literally locked him up coming in. I think Chad's playing the caution card right now. What's he racing right now? Yeah, he's battling Pedro in the points, but again, I say he's battling Pedro in the points. So do something different. I've preached that for how long now? I'm not perfect and I don't know everything, but what's the worst that happens?
Yeah. So top 4 right now, Chad Coleman, Tommy Ryan, Gerald Livingston, and Bobby Wetzel, all with 60 laps plus on their tires since this run started back at lap 30-something, 31 it was. And when will they come to pit road and complete the pit cycle for all these drivers? And when they do, who's going to be up front? I think it might be Tyler Dalton.
Yeah, I've got Dalton. That's going to be the leader. And
38 to pit road.
I was going to say my answer to that question's got to be any minute because they're right at the moment where they got to come to pit road. So here comes the Charger crew to pit road.
Pretty good turn in for Chad. The car bounced as he hit the apron, but he was able to carry enough speed.
Here comes Gerald.
Gerald follows him in. Both of them made 60, almost 70 laps. It's 70 laps right now for Tommy Ryan, still out there. Picks up the lead this time by. And goes right past the end of pit road. Whoa, big wiggle for Tommy as he brushes the wall.
There you go. Coleman pulls away. 15:03 and then 15:20 for Livingston. And what surprises me is that these guys are probably filling their tanks up all the way. This is the opportunity. You pit with 40 laps to go. That's nearly a third of the run. Take a third fuel out and run it. That's going to tighten your car up. Now, I think, in fairness, I don't know if I would take that much fuel out because that might tighten your car too much.
We were talking about how straight the 58 was up off the corner. The opposite is true. That 99 is dancing every single time he comes up. 72 laps in the run right now for Tommy Ryan as he exits turn 2. Will this be the lap he makes that left-hand turn? He's got to be frustrated as all the drivers with tires keep zooming past him.
Well, that's just a matter of being patient. He's in 5th gear the whole time here, which top gear, obviously you're going to save fuel doing that. And he is literally just, he's got an egg under that throttle right now.
I think if you want to figure out how far you can go, we're going to learn. When he makes that left-hand turn, we're going to know what the extent of the fuel mileage is for this run. He and Bobby Wetzel are the only two. And remember, Bobby stopped on one of those cautions. So Bobby only has 64 laps on his 65 laps, where 73 for Tommy Ryan. So
What
he
lap-
can go a little bit further.
You said lap 31 we went green? Here
Pretty
comes
sure,
Tommy right
yeah.
now. Here comes Tommy right now. I ask you that only because the pit stops at that caution was at lap 24. So they had to have went green at like 27. At least according to my telemetry. I don't know. It could be off. So I may be wrong, but I may be right.
You
Well-
may be
Well, you know, we got the second caution that was in there too. In fairness to you.
I may be crazy. Yeah, I don't have the mental faculty to do math tonight. Sorry.
Neither. I'm with you.
Pretty sure I just looked up and saw 31 on the scoreboard, which is why
It's okay. So now Tommy's going to have 37 laps. He was on pit road 15 flat. And let's see where he comes out. Pull the track map up here. All right, so there goes Glenn Campbell by as he gets up.
Tina Comstock goes by.
So there's the 99 up here at the top of the screen in gold. Tyler Dalton is literally on the same straightaway back here. So Tommy's going to have to make up roughly, if I'm doing the math here correctly, 26 seconds. And he will be on 15 lap newer tires than Tyler Dalton.
Yeah, don't see it. I just don't see that coming to fruition.
I'm just here to do math.
I'll tell you, the driver who's like looking to throw rollbar padding is Bobby Wetzel. Right now, currently still in the top 10 at 68 laps since last pit. This is where he needs a caution in the worst way. As does Scott Simley, who's the first car one lap down in 19th.
The ones who need the tires, or that need the caution in the worst way, are the two sleeping cars, the 41 and 42, the personal comfort cars of Stenzel and O'Rourke, the ones that are, I want to say they're probably saying right now we might have hurt ourselves.
Yeah, could be.
Let's go back here. Joe Hudson, 9th position with Callan Tony and Mike Montesi, 9th, 10th, 11th, all hanging out in the same Discord there. Racing each other, 34 laps to go.
33.371, Chad Coleman last lap of 33.5 this time. And I have to say that he's almost a full second faster than everybody else. And the reason, he pitted 8 laps ago. Everybody else has 21 laps on their tires out front. So Chad Coleman, he is putting the spurs to it. We saw him run really quickly before at the end of the run. So you have to wonder if both pressure tires and speed is going to net him out a good result tonight.
Oh,
so we're going to have to keep an eye on that.
He's going to be able to steal positions here. Unfortunately for Tommy, you know, he's going to probably have it in his head that this race was done on lap. Whoa. Hudson getting loose in two.
Wow. And Coleman doesn't want to see that.
No.
Or does he? I don't know.
Calamity corner about struck again over there.
If I'm Chad Coleman and I look out in front of me, I don't like what I'm seeing. I see the 84, which I'm going to go by, and I see the 6 as an opportunity. But this is a huge straightaway with 2 cars out in front of me. That's not going to buy me anything. The 170 and the 9, I don't care about them. I need to make it back up and run in the top 10. So if I'm Coleman, I don't want to say you should spin out 51.
Is your arm itch?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I wouldn't mind, because this strategy may have gone sideways. You might be
Wetzel, pit
fast,
road.
but he's got so much bad track position at this point that he'd probably take the caution.
Well, his last lap was a 34-34. He was passing somebody, so let's see what this one updates to. 33-15. So he's a half second faster than Tyler right now. And about 0.2 faster than Parker and Mojica. And he is roughly 20 seconds off of Tyler.
So speaking of Tyler, he's in the exact same position he was earlier. Out front, down on the bottom, digging, and he's got Josh Parker chasing him. Now the question is, how hard does he run when that 81 gets in his mirror?
I think I know the answer to this. And I only do because I have heard Tyler multiple times talk about racing here at Homestead. And how what he's doing right now outside of chopping the nose off of Simley's front end. The way he runs this track, you see right here, he's painting his bottom line. And he's trying to run that to save his tires and also, you know, keep speed in the car. Something tells me he is not going 100% right now. I say that as here comes Josh Parker to his outside.
Yeah, 1 lap is all it took for Parker to draw up on, and with the draft that they have, he's going to loosen the 19 up and then squirt around the outside. They're going to go 3 wide. off of turn 4. I don't think Tyler put up that much of a fight, but we need to go back and think about the point championship. Pedro out front, Chad Coleman in second. 22 points back is the 19 of Tyler Dalton. He's in this hunt. He's got a dog in this race, and he cannot afford to have a bad finish here. So if he can maintain pace and come away with a podium, that puts him in the ballpark, because the 58, as good as he's running, back there in third, right behind him, it's still a point gain, and a point gain is a point gain.
Hey, a point saved is a point earned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
That might be the point that does something different if Pedro runs into problems somewhere down the road. So
I see your point.
it's pretty sharp.
So, yeah, so Tyler's 8/10 back of Parker, and then you got Mojica, obviously about 3/10 back, as they're about to battle for the second position in this thing. Now, we have a slight issue on our hands here again. Not that we've not had the perfect night already. We've gone from Perdo Mojica, as he was known as at the start of the season, because of the issues of spelling, to now he is Pedro Monica in chat.
Nice.
I'll let them explain that one to Pedro.
I know you see it.
I know who that is, so, but needless to say. Glenn Campbell on pit road. Not sure if that's scheduled or not for the 44 car. So Josh has pulled away 1.4 seconds, and Josh has been pretty dadgum fast tonight. The question is, they pitted at the same lap, by the way. Josh and Pedro did, and then lap 82 for Tyler Dalton. So the question is, has Tyler, or is Tyler saving enough tires to try to go back after these two here in the next run, or is Tyler done for at this moment? So Wesley Donaldson up to 4th, Jose Gonzalez, Mike Kelly, Chad Coleman is now 7th. Seth Fowdy, who, by the way, we do have a camera. We haven't had a chance to. There's Seth racing hard in his. He's still got the Dale stash. He's got his white tee on tonight, so he's back in 2000 with his shirt. See, the rocker back there is not moving, so he doesn't have a spotter tonight.
It always seems to me like he's sitting close and in under the wheel. I don't.
Yeah, that's got to be. I mean, I'm not. Kind of doing some things there, or whatever, making some adjustments or something.
Doesn't appear like he's shifting at all.
No, I always find the little things going on, though, in the video. Something down here next to his keyboard. I think his little one's on the floor over there.
Could be. I see a little movement.
Anyways. Well, thanks, Seth, for the cameras, by the way, for the onboards. As a matter of fact, let's step away real quickly and take you to the finish of this race. 21 laps to go as you're watching the 811 Cup Series Sim500 here on the Captain Esports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
Back we are here at Homestead Miami Speedway. 20 laps to go. Josh Parker, 1.6 seconds over Pedro Mojica. And there could or could not be some conversation going on in race chat about lap cars. Unfortunately, we don't have the audio up like I normally do, but it's at least what I'm hearing. Well, I'd like to know how the spotters are talking then. If we're all using automated spotters except one guy. Get out of the way, kid. Oh, Carnival David Comstock smacks it back straight away. That monster can took a little smashing right in front of Doy Woods, but he stayed straight and he stayed green. That's at the 11th position, and Comstock might have broken a toe, Link. Don't make the tires angry. Hey, the continuation of Chad Coleman inside of Mike Kelly for 7th. Takes that spot away.
Extend his lead. He was 1.2 seconds over Mohica
Kelly
earlier. Oh, yeah. We should get a lollipop for every time they pop the wall.
I'm going to give myself a lollipop here every time I don't turn your microphone on. We're on a roll tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
So those who don't know on the street, because they keep reminding me, it's like, I think Kevin's mic's muted. I'm like, gosh dang it in my head. But for those who don't know, when we do the whole commercial thing, I literally mute our mics so that him and I can communicate with each other for a second, or at least we can yell words that we can't say on the air out loud if we wanted to. You know, like fight.
As Daryl Hall says, talking to you is like talking to myself. Outstanding album, by the way, if you ever go look at that.
Hall & Oates, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know who Daryl Hall is.
Yes. Well,
It's
what to think about this?
we got 14 laps to go. And if Tyler Dalton was saving anything, he's going to go now, but I think he's too far back. So I don't think Dalton had enough tires. So I think it's literally Parker's race to lose here. And for Josh, going to be the perfect night he's been waiting to have here for throughout the playoffs, as he hasn't really been to victory lane here in recent times. It's been basically the Pedro Mojica show. I mean, I bring up the Pedro all the time, that you go back to, mid-season where it was 3 guys battling for the most wins this season, and all of a sudden it became the Pedro Mojica show. The last Josh Parker win, actually, believe it or not, was Darlington in September. So it's been 2 months almost, which was the beginning of the playoffs. But I guess if there's any track you could compare to Darlington, it might be Homestead, because of the worn out surfaces and so on and so forth.
It does drive similarly. When you go down, that's not similarly. When you drive down into the corner, you let the car float in until the right side, take it set, and then you get on the throttle. And so, yeah, I it's funny you say that. I never considered it, but too late for Josh Parker from a championship standpoint. But we said it on the outset. Some of these drivers, they want to win. He's 34 markers back from Pedro, and he's not going to gain on Pedro if Pedro's going to finish second. So Pedro's mission accomplished, right? Just finishing the top, and they can't beat you. But, there's something satisfying about locking in a Cup Series win here for NC811, because these are some of the best drivers in the sim, and getting a win is a tough thing to do.
Agreed 100% here as they come up on the back of Joe Hudson here, Gerald Livingston. This is back at the 14th and 15th position. How about Livingston getting a top 15 here tonight? Likely. You mentioned earlier about having those kind of tracks that you're really sporty at. For me, it's like Charlotte or Texas, the new one. You know, for you, it's Trenton.
Kansas.
Okay, Kansas.
One of my favorite. I love New Hampshire too, but that's weird.
Well, knowing you being the modified guy you are, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go back here. Mike Montesi and Seth. Whoa, who's that? O'Rourke's digging for gold in the inside again. Dropped a hot pocket or something. As Montesi inside of Foudy for position. This is the 9th and 10th place battle. As Montesi clears.
O'Rourke was hard in the wall going into turn one. Car stepped out and the right front just slapped the wall.
Wonder if he blew the tire.
Hard to say, but he's going to go to pit road and we'll see whether he parks it or goes for service and limps it along to get to the finish here. With 9 to go, I think I would want to see the checkered flag no matter what the situation is. Right side tires going on.
So 2 races left after tonight. We have the Thanksgiving week off, and then we'll come back on the 27th of November and be at the Iowa Speedway for the penultimate race of the season, and then December 4th, Las Vegas Motor Speedway to finish the season out. So 2 other surfaces that are kind of worn out, if you will. I mean, Iowa for sure. Vegas is getting there, but Vegas almost races like it's fresh pavement with the draft and stuff. So 2 fantastic tracks that we get to enjoy the following 2 Monday nights. And then after that, for me, it's pretty much down to 1 league, which I kind of purposely did. Last year I was doing 2 or 3 leagues on weekdays in December, and it was stretching. So
Well, maybe you could find a little time to come race with us then.
I might just show up for 1 or 2. We'll see. I actually have my wheel put away. I haven't touched my wheel in like a month and a half or so, or a month at least.
EJ did his service, pulled back out onto the racetrack, bought fresh tires, maybe a little bit of repair. Let's talk about where points drivers are.
Mhm.
Parker leading,
Yep.
Pedro running second, Tyler Dalton running third. Chad Coleman is in sixth. You got Mike Kelly running in eighth. And then down the stack, David Comstock running 14th, 1 lap down. Behind him, Joe Hudson, 15th, 1 lap down. Nelson Rivera, who was up front almost all race, back to 17th. His race went sideways. And then, obviously, it gets even worse for Joey Tatina and Brian Macklin, as we've talked about their troubles here tonight. So, point championship-wide, Preem rises to the top. The drivers who are in this hunt, Pedro, Chad, and Tyler, still having respectable runs and keeping their name in the race.
For those who are fans of Nelson Rivera, let's go back to early in this race where a certain individual, not me, was talking about how Nelson was having a great run, running up in the top 10.
You see Scott Stenzel running the wall. And so is the 41 of EJ O'Rourke. They're doing their Ross Chastain impressions over there in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's never good. So as
They should be careful here.
4 laps to go, 3.5 seconds back to Pedro, 5.8 to Tyler Dalton. So obviously Parker looking to get as many points as possible back on the leader here before this race is over. And for those who had not seen, let me get the screen up. Let me show you the points as we were entering this race here tonight. On the screen, Mojica had 13 on Coleman, 22 on Dalton. So right now, Josh Parker's way down here in the 7th position. He's going to pass Joey easily. He'll pass Rivera easily. Comstock he'll likely get. So he'll probably jump to 4th in points after tonight and be within 33, 32, somewhere in that range, maybe 31 points of Pedro, which realistically, that's a tough uphill battle. But, I mean, pride-wise, at least he'll be back up in the picture to get a top 3 finish in points. So this is going to be a big night for somebody like Josh.
Anything can happen. Pedro could come out and crash lap 1 in any of the events and end up finishing 20 something. So we can't count our. I'm not wishing any bad mojo for Mojica, but that's why you run all the races.
Don't do that to Monica.
Don't want Monica to get mad. Chandler and Ross and all of them will be upset. 2 to go. Man, what a race for Josh Parker. Just not only did he get out front and maintain, he's driving away. That's pretty impressive.
White flag. Final lap, 1.5 miles to go. Josh Parker looking to get his second win in the playoffs this season. And what would end up being his 6th win.
That's pretty good work.
Yeah. He showed he definitely had the best long run car tonight as he come out of nowhere after at lap 31 restart and took the lead from Tyler Dalton and used pit strategy and made more passes and took the lead and now takes the win 6th time this season. Parker wins again.
Yeah, Pedro second, no surprise. Another outstanding run. And how about this run for Tyler Dalton?
Yeah.
He not only put it up front in the beginning, he held there the whole race, and an outstanding finish for Tyler to keep his car clean and get himself a top 5 tonight.
Wesley Donaldson finishes 4th. Chad Coleman back to the 5th position. So great job by Chad and Tommy Ryan, 2 of the last guys to come to pit road during that run. And they come back to get 5th and 6th place respectively in the race.
That is a digging night. Dug deep for Chad Coleman, I'll tell you.
So would you rather have a Northern Tool or a Caterpillar digging? And make sure you call 811 before you do both.
I see what you did. That was really
right.
That's pretty impressive.
Good wordplay on the sponsors.
Wow. This makes things interesting because it really does tighten up this point race. I know that Pedro looks like he's the king at this point, but everybody else behind him is clawing their way for a podium finish here in this point championship. It's a long season. We're going to run into December with the break that we have for Thanksgiving. And, these drivers, they've worked hard all season long. They want to see it pay dividends.
Well, I go back to earlier this season. I start with the Vegas race back on March 6th. Doy Woods went to victory lane in that race. Mojica actually finished 3rd. But you had Montesi finished up there, Chad Coleman, Comstock, Tommy Ryan. All these guys were up there near the front in this race. The one person I don't see on this list is Josh Parker, who finished 29th. Now, in fairness to Josh, this was, of course, at the beginning of the season. What was Josh doing all season long during the regular times? He was starting in the back. So, obviously, that's going to change the elements, I think, on that deal. And then Iowa Speedway, we were there back... I want to say it was race number 7 earlier this season, April 10th. As I click on the results of that one, Pedro finished 2nd in that race, and Josh Parker 24th. However, David Comstock was up front, Chad Coleman, Mike Kelly finished up there. So, and oh, by the way, that race had 13 cautions in April.
Chad Coleman, did he not win that race in Iowa?
Kevin DeBrown did.
Huh. Okay.
So obviously Iowa next week, 13 cautions in that race. Who knows what can happen if that happens again. So obviously, who knows? So, all right, we got one more break here. Let's get one more spot in real quick for 811. We'll talk to our top 3. I'll make sure Kevin's mic stays on, and we'll be back here from Homestead.
Cause damage to your property? Contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Back we are at Homestead. I promise Kevin's mic is on. See? 1, 2.
Hello.
There's Kevin. As Kevin
Check,
and
check,
I
check.
back here as we get ready to do our little post-race show here from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, as Josh Parker has gone to victory lane for the 6th time this season. As we look at the standings, I should say results of the race here this evening. Parker wins it by 3.5 seconds over Pedro Mojica. Tyler Dalton finishes 3rd, Wesley Donaldson 4th, and Chad Coleman is 5th. Tommy Ryan finishing 6th. Jose Gonzalez finishing 7th at his home track. Mike Montesi 8th. Mike Kelly finishes 9th. Seth Foudy getting himself a top 10, so he's got to be pretty happy about that. Doy Woods finishing in the 11th position. Anthony Calantoni 12th. Gerald Livingston 13th. David Comstock 14th. Let me back up. Gerald Livingston with a 13th place finish tonight. I'm sure he's going to be pretty happy with that. Scott Simley 15th. Joe Hudson, unfortunately, 16th for him. Glenn Campbell, Bobby Wetzel finishing in the 17th and 18th positions. The rest of the field, Nelson Rivera 19th. Scott Stenzel 20th. Brian Wortman 21st. E.J. O'Rourke 22nd. Joey Zatina, Jeff Ryan, Brian Macklin, Randy Yoakum, Doug Sigmund, Robert Friery the third, and Eric Arnold all had issues in the race tonight. And we had, thankfully, nobody decided to show up in the room and not race, because I would have not had anything to come up with other than maybe they went on a boat somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, let's go talk to right. I mean, like Chicagoland, it's easy because I just say they got stuck over at IKEA eating Swedish meatballs or something. But that's good eating, by the way. Let's talk to our top 3 drivers.
Is the rival a Costco hot dog?
Ooh, good call. You know, I think it's its own thing, because Costco's you got in almost every city, where in IKEA you have to go to like the major, like for instance, where I'm at in Fort Wayne, I have to drive 2 hours to Indianapolis to get Swedish meatballs if I wanted to. So I to a point I could see that question, but I think it's in 2 different avenues, unfortunately.
Got it. Yep.
Man, you got me thinking now on that one. All right, so let's talk to who in the world finished 3rd tonight. Tyler Dalton did. As Dalton finishes here 3rd. Tyler, obviously good run for you. I was kind of sitting back, and I'm like, all right, listening to what you were telling me, it's like, okay, Tyler is probably saving tires here. I'm just waiting for him to pounce, and it just seemed like you just didn't have enough.
Yeah, I was happy with 3rd. Felt like we had more. Just started that one run. Felt like I had to drive it harder than I wanted to stay in the lead in clean air when Jose was catching me. So burned the tires up just a little bit there, and then I was surprised that Pedro and Josh went so long without pitting. I thought they were going to maybe pit a lap or 2 after I did, but stayed out for 5 more laps, and I thought maybe I had a chance with them staying out so long, but tires just never equalized, and they had the newer tires there at the end, and just nothing you could do against newer tires. So once Pedro got by, just sort of was trying to chill in case we got a caution.
So I want to go into this tire saving you guys were doing. Obviously, running that bottom line is the ultimate saver here at Homestead Miami Speedway. But when you look at this groove, it's like you're on this wide surface, and then all of a sudden you come up on a construction zone that is a single lane wide, and you have to drive the car 150 miles an hour through it. Is that a pretty good way of saying how hard it is to run that one lane and keep it there?
For me, it's actually easier to run that lane than the lane I saw a lot of other guys running, which was up higher. I've always liked to run Homestead on the bottom. Whenever we have a setup that allows that and it's fast, I always do good. Whenever the line's way up top, I struggle. So felt like tonight sort of suited me. I'm not sure how much it helps the tires, but it keeps the car more stable throughout the run, it seems. But I tried to go up there and run the middle some when Josh was catching me, but I just didn't feel as comfortable up there.
Well, obviously with the great result for you, let's see if we've got them updated here, because usually you guys are pretty quick at getting this stuff posted. It is posted already, and points-wise, you sit 3rd still in. You're 23 back, which the way he's running, I mean, it seems like it's almost impossible to come back from 1 point back if you were. But you still got a legit chance, because we go to Iowa next week that had 13 cautions back in the April race, so anything is possible.
Yeah, Iowa's probably my best short track. So if I could pick a short track to go to, that'd probably be the one. So hopefully we can have a good finish there. Like I said, it's going to take a miracle for anyone to catch Pedro, but gained some points on Chad. Unfortunately, lost some there on Josh, who is only like 6 points back
Yep.
now. But good battle here for the top 5 in points. We've ran pretty good all season. If I could come home, maybe top 3, top 4 in points, that'd be a win in my opinion.
No, absolutely. That's a very good point there. As I look, yeah, kind of spread out a little bit more. It looks like amongst the top 10. So it's you and Josh within 30, and then Comstock's on his own between 30 and 40, and then Kelly and Rivera. So looks like it's not as tight as it was, but you still there got a couple of battles on your hands and have to survive Iowa next week. So great job and send some shout outs.
So we'll thank NC811, always a great sponsor, and always they'll come back next season. It's gonna be great to represent them again. I'll thank all the Sim500 Mafia. Great runs by some of our guys, and hopefully we can go get them next week at Iowa.
Absolutely, man. Hey, great job tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tyler Dalton finishing in third. He's third in points. And obviously, as you heard, pretty happy for the most part with his run there. So we'll send him down there, and we will send it down to Kevin with the second place finisher, Pedro Mojica.
Kind of unusual to call a second place run not the strongest run because Pedro, we saw Josh Parker driving away, but we know how challenging this racetrack can be to hold speed on the long run. What did you need to catch the 81 tonight?
I guess that first time we pitted, I forgot to leave fuel out, which I know a couple of those guys did because I could tell just from the speed they were able to hold for so long. So I screwed up there and got behind the 8-ball, but we were able to get to Josh as we pitted. I was like within a half a second right before we pitted the last time. But yeah, just whatever. I guess I had a little bit slower pit stop and just struggled getting out of the box. And so I just lost about a second and a half to him there. And then, I mean, honestly, at that point, I knew I was in trouble because too much of a gap that I gave to him. And we were running about equal lap times the whole run. That last run, I did remember to leave fuel out that time, so it was on similar grounds as him, but just gave up too much time on exit of the pits. Then also it didn't help. It's like when he came out, he really didn't have traffic in front of him. When I came out, I had a gaggle of cars in front of me, so practically the whole run I had dirty air.
So there's a bunch of things to unpack there. And before you go further, first, how does not taking fuel help you in the long run?
It just helps keep the car tighter. It shifts the weight forward on the nose. So the biggest issue we had was left rear drive, especially off the corner. I'm sure you guys saw during the race, a lot of people were getting really, really loose off the corner, and that's just because the way the setup was, the way the track is, just drive off that left rear real hard.
This car always drives off that left rear, right? And the second thing, when you went onto pit road, you were almost nose to tail. It was really strange to see him. Of course, he pits way out in the back, and you drove all the way down the other end. You were probably sitting there in service watching your mirror, seeing him coming, did you?
Yeah, I guess I was just more focused on trying to get a good launch, but yeah, I don't know. I just had a slower stop, I think, and so I gave up a little bit, and then just like I said, when it went on all four and I pressed on the gas, it just felt like it wasn't really catching. So I just had to play with the gas a little bit.
Off pit road, we watched your car get a little dancy coming out, but we saw some in race look like conversation. Not sure if it was from me or from you and I'm trying to think who it was. Maybe Nelson Rivera.
Similarly.
So, how much frustration is it for you to try and get the clean air?
I mean, it was a little, but I mean, at that point, like, Josh was already too far, and I knew I wasn't going to get him, so I wasn't going to mess with their battle. So, I mean, it was nice of them to let me go when they did. It just was circumstances, right? Like, we came out, and, I was behind a couple guys. We passed them for position, and then a couple other guys come out of the pits, and they come out between me and Josh, and just kind of get stuck there behind them a little bit. So try to manage the gap to that car and whatnot, but it just, it is what it is. Like they were battling out. I know Gerald a couple laps before that asked if I wanted him to let me go, but it's just like at that point, Josh was too far, and there was no way I was going to catch him. So I was like, well, let these guys have, because they have their own battle, right? They're racing too, so I don't want to mess with that.
I know you probably are disappointed with second, but with 9 wins and how many seconds this year, I don't know if I could count them. There's probably 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. What a year. Could you imagine in Daytona that you'd be getting to the end of the season with just a handful of laps, a large lead, and the number of stout top threes you've had this year?
No, not really, because the last time I did Monday night, it seemed like I had a ton of bad luck. I'd run just as good, but just had a lot of bad luck and never got the results. So, I mean, yeah, I would say for now, it is quite amazing to put up a streak like we have. Like, yeah, a little disappointed to finish second. I was hoping to get a win again just to widen the gap even more, but I mean, still, we beat most our competitors that were the closest to us in points, so we gained a little bit more going in the final 2 races. So, that's all you can ask for is just good runs. And honestly, at this point, it's one of those like the gap's so big, it's you got to start being smart with some of the things you do and a little bit more cautious because don't need to give any hope to anybody going in the last 2 races. So, so yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a year, to be honest.
That's so cruel. Don't give any hope. But you're right? When you're thinking about the year that you've had, you go into next week with a double-digit lead. If you come out of next week clean, right? Are you going to race differently?
Yeah, well, so I think next week we're off for the Thanksgiving week, so it's a nice little break.
Sorry, the following week.
Get a nice little break. But yeah, Iowa, I mean, I like that track, and I think it owes me one from earlier this year, so hopefully we can pull the victory off there. But either way, like, still, like, even then, like, if we could just get a top 10 run there, right? Like, so at this point, it's like if we finish top 10, we'll probably wrap it up. So, so yeah, I'd say it's going to be situational more than anything, and depending on who's around me and whatnot, whether, I push it or if I just, hey, you know what, I'll let you go because I got more bigger things to worry about than a spot or 2. So, so yeah, I think at this point, just got to be smart and not put myself in bad situations where you could get taken out.
Well, Pedro, it's been an immaculate season so far, and with a handful of races to go, you're still got these guys leaning forward trying to catch you, and we're looking forward to see how you finish the season out. We got to drum up a little drama here and say there might be a chance that you're going to have a problem, but I'm telling you what, you have been outstanding in these races. I was looking at it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 second place finishes to go with the 9 wins, and you have a couple thirds, a couple fourths, a fifth, a sixth. I mean, whatever happens, you put together one of the most amazing seasons that we've seen, and now we want to give you the stage to say thanks to whoever you want to as we get out of here tonight at Homestead with another top 3 run for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Kevin, and yeah, thanks to you and Chris for putting on the broadcast, Captain Esports, all the admins at Sim500, I appreciate them. NC811, I appreciate them for sponsoring the series, and glad to hear they're coming back again next year. So that's a cool deal for the league. So appreciate them and everything they do for the league. Glenn Campbell and Trans Service Logistics, appreciate them for jumping on board this year and giving me this opportunity. Max Graphics for painting the car. All the guys on Team Name. We all, for the most part, ran pretty good. Some of us had trouble, but we always have fun. So, and congrats to Josh on the win. If anybody was probably my toughest competitor is Josh. Unfortunately, he just had some bad luck to start the playoffs, and that's kind of one of those things. Like, you could be good, but if you have bad luck, man, that could just really derail things. So hopefully we can avoid that the final 2 races. But anyways, good luck or good win to Josh. And then, yeah, just appreciate the family for letting me come and hang out for a couple hours.
There you go, Pedro Mojica, second place tonight. We'll turn it over to Chris. He's caught up with our winner, Josh Parker. Thanks, Pedro.
When Pedro's not going to hear this number when I throw this to him, but to add to the hate, his average finish is 1.33 right now in this round of the playoffs. Yeah, as Josh Parker spoils the Pedro parade with his victory here tonight. Josh, congrats on the win. First win since Darlington in September. And I guess the first question I have to ask is we go back to the second caution, which ended up being the last caution tonight. You were back towards about the 5th to 10th place position. I didn't see exactly where, but you flew up there and all of a sudden passed those guys like you were on brand new tires.
Did I?
It seemed like it. I mean, we were watching like, holy cow, where's this speed coming from?
Yeah, I don't know. This has always been a good track for me. Dating back till 2009, I locked up the Pro Series championship at this track. What's that? Like 15, 16 years ago. So, it's always kind of fit my style, for some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely felt good with the luck I've had the first couple of races in the final part of the chase. So, or playoffs, or whatever you want to call it.
Obviously, one thing that helped you out tonight, Kevin pointed out that pit stop you had with Pedro. You two come down pit road together, and you end up having about a 1.3 second gain on Pedro. Excuse me. I don't know if it was you leaving the pits that got the difference between Pedro. If something happened to him coming out, he said that he felt like maybe you just didn't have the grip he wanted leaving the pit stall or whatever. But what you did obviously helped you launch out there and contributed to your 3-second win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I babied it on entry and gave up a lot of time. To be honest, I think the difference was I took less fuel than him.
Right.
So it was a quicker stop. So, but on pit exit, I made sure I saw how much more of a gap I had on him. So, I didn't want to spin my tires. I would give it an extra tire heat, knowing we had a good 50 lap run then. So, I babied it, and I don't know. I didn't slip any tires, and I think that helped me launch down the backstretch. I think.
Could have. How hard was it to maintain those tires tonight? Because you saw a lot of guys getting free, and I think a lot of that was them running 4th gear. Obviously, which I think opened that strategy up a little bit more when those cautions came out. But obviously, it seemed like there were almost 2 different strategies to do if you wanted to stay 5th gear and run longer into the run, or go 4th gear and short run it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought the opposite, and I did the opposite. I was in 4th gear the whole race. And I felt like me running 4th killed me on the short run. I know, but I think it was that second run. And to answer your first question, to save the tires, no, it was, for some reason, it was natural, because, like I said, I felt like I was running the cart hard in 4th, but there's only so much you could really do in 4th because you were hitting the limiter. So, I felt like that helped me save tires, because there was only so much more speed I can actually carry through the corner. So, that helped me. And then the second part of that question, well, I made it a question, so I'm gonna call it a question. Was I ran 4th gear the whole race, and in that second run, I noticed that they were running. Everyone around me was running really hard, and it was really hard for me to stay in front of them without really killing my tires. So, where I noticed he was gaining on me was on entry. Knowing I was maxed out on RPMs, and he was getting it a little more oomph. And then after that, the RPMs kind of, the lap times faded a little bit. The RPMs didn't matter as much, and then I started pulling away. So, I felt like the opposite. And I remember, I heard them talking about 5th gear and tire saving. My tires were better than theirs with the right rear. And after that first run, and I was in 4th, so I was assuming, I was like, you know what? I think I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just going to keep doing it, and it worked.
Got an interesting theory in my head, and I might be overthinking this and going to give everybody a headache here real quickly. You were in 4th gear. Being in 4th gear, taller gear, probably going into the corner brought the speed down a little bit more than you would be in 5th gear, which could help you save your tires.
Oh, I've been a natural sim racer, as Kevin can remember. He was the same way, where we used to have engine braking with this type of engine. Now there's no more engine braking, and I suck at getting this car slowed down with just the brake. So, me having it in fourth gear felt like I had that little bit of engine braking, even though it was just the RPMs dipping from max
Right.
capacity to under max capacity. So it just that, like I said, it gave me like an end point of where to lift in the turn. Back in the day, you were hitting the chip at almost every track at
Right.
fourth gear. So everywhere I had my, driving in the turn, and I would always just listen to the different engine pitch, and then that's when I get on the gas. And here, there isn't that. You're in fifth gear. Just sounds like you're throwing up the whole time. So, um, I think that's probably why I ran so well here. Is just that engine pitch mid turn on when to get that transition of the weight onto the right rear was kind of more natural to me. So from what I remember.
That worked out. 23 spots gained, and back to the front you go, and jump all the way to third in points, or fourth in points. I'm sorry, right there behind Tyler. So congratulations on that, and send some shout out to where you like to.
Yeah, you guys in the broadcast 811. Joey, everyone at Sim500. Team name Pedro for running a good race. I think it's his championship to lose, but he's definitely deserved it. He's run a solid year. This is a Falkenhand type year. Either winning or French in second. So, um, kind of I want to say congrats to him, but he's definitely looking that way. And then Chad and everybody else.
Okay, great job on your end too, man. Congratulations, and you got 6 wins this season. That's got to be pretty happy for you too.
I was just looking at that. That moved me third all time on Monday nights by myself.
Wow,
So
good for you.
yeah. So I was just looking at that. I got a long way to catch Falkenham, but I think I can get Adam Gilliland.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're both possible unless one of them comes back. And
Well, Falkenham's trash, so he'll be back soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
Hopefully
right.
he's listening. Hopefully he's listening. That's a call out. I remember him and Kevin King running when I won the championship, and I kind of put I took the sail out of their boats that year. So
Yeah, I've had plenty of races against Kevin. I remember him. Great job tonight, man.
all right, thanks, guys.
You too, buddy. As Josh Parker, winner tonight here, and as we reminisce for all of 3.5 seconds there at
I
Homestead.
love that.
Yeah, right. That just shows you how long I've been on here. When I've said I've raced against people like Kevin King and Adam Gilliland. Now ask me if I did any well against him. No, but needless to say, yeah, I've been here a while. Anyways, congratulations to Josh. We're gonna head out. Let me get you real quick. I'll let you your final thoughts here, Kev, as I go grab the point standings real quickly and post them for everybody.
My mind's exploding over the cerebral amount of analysis he did in race, like how his car performed and the RPM and running in fifth made it sound like it threw up. I mean, that was a classic.
Yeah, that's a term.
But just how much he was, I know when you race, you're in your head the whole time. You're paying attention to what other drivers are doing. But the amount of acumen that he talked about, what others were doing around him, he could observe or whatever is pretty darn impressive to me.
Well, and to add to that, he brought up the cars hitting the chip back in the day, and he's talking about the old Gen 5 car, the car tomorrow, if you will. When you ran that, I'm sorry, not the car tomorrow, but the next model up. His car tomorrow was Gen 4, I believe. That car itself, when you sent that thing at Charlotte, Gen 6, whatever. Well, I'm sorry, yeah, the car before the 750 versus 550 horsepower. That car specifically had the 900 horsepower or whatever, and you were going into turn one at Charlotte screaming 200 miles an hour pretty much. And I mean, that's basically what he was referencing, going back to, and that kind of thing. And I wish they'd do that again, but I think I'm with the whole United States of racing fans that say that. So anyways, let's show you the point standings really quickly before we head out. As Pedro Mojica, 16 points over Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton, Josh Parker. David Comstock is fifth. Right now, I would say probably your top 5 have a shot at it, as you hear with Parker and Dalton pretty much saying, yeah, it's pretty much Pedro's already. But you never know in racing. So right now, the top 5, I would say technically, I mean, only 3 or 4 of them, depending on who shows up next week at Iowa, could get Pedro in one race. But if you use tonight's number, for instance, 29, you'd get first to 4th. And then 29 and 2 is 58. So everybody but Brian Macklin right now would be pretty much still eligible. And I'm using air quotes big time here. So
You have to think about this in the context that Iowa and Las Vegas are not big open sweeping tracks like this
Oh no, they're
racetrack.
tight. Yeah, absolutely.
They're tight. You're in close quarters, and if on a restart somebody up front gets sideways, it could be calamity for anybody in the field. So this is not over by any stretch. Lots of things can happen, and they often do.
You got 2 progressive banking tracks, and one of them, as in Iowa, is really, really, really bad on transition coming off the corner. So you are going to see self spins next week that could create mayhem when it's all over with. So, or I'm sorry, in 2 weeks, as we do get the Thanksgiving week off, by the way. So you will not hear from us next Monday, and if you do, something weird's going on, because I will probably be sleeping at this moment, knowing I gotta go back to work, and I had just gotten back home from Pigeon Forge. So, yeah. Anyways, speaking of bed, I'm gonna go do that now. So, Kev, good job, man. I'll see you next week. Or 2 weeks.
Yep,
Happy
thanks.
Thanksgiving to everybody here in the league, and you and family, and be safe, bud.
Take care, everybody.
You too. And remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing, and this broadcast is interesting. Good night, everyone.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah.